And now we're officially live. There you go, Dirk.
Officially.
Yeah, now it's a real opening for you. Welcome to Virtual Courtside with Dirk and Harris. I'm Harris. That is Dirk, El Campeón del Goalie, our wonderful champion. Congrats to you, sir.
Thank you.
Your reward for a wonderful weekend of goaltending is you, sir, get to broadcast 4 days of high-octane NBA 2K League 3v3 action. How do you feel?
I'm always excited. As much as I love doing what I do, I get paid to do one thing, and I don't get paid to do the other thing.
Nah.
Yet.
Yeah, well, hey, you
Yet.
did get a little bit of money, right? You got a little cash prize for
Yes.
winning?
So total prize pool for my division was 4,500. We took home
Ooh.
2,500.
Very
So
nice. Very
uh,
nice.
we were all able to pocket some money, and then we put a lot of the other winnings aside for our like team dinner that we're gonna have
Oh, fun. Okay.
this weekend. So I was like, it's like a smart business decision
Yeah.
to do that, save everybody some money. So yeah, it was fun, man. I need to get better so I can play in first division. You wanna know how much the prize pool was for Division 1?
10 grand.
7.5.
Nice.
For
Pretty good.
outdoor, it's 12 grand.
Ooh, damn. Very nice.
It's shit's crazy.
When I'm moving to after my Rhode Island move, there's this huge sports complex slash like big gymnasium like 10
Mm.
minutes from me. And it's also going to be my gym that I start going to because I have to start caring about my health again. And yeah, I'm gonna try to sign up for some intramural sports. So I'm gonna be a champion like you someday, buddy.
You're
Follow
gonna
you to the
play
top.
goalie out there.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can play some squash again. I miss playing squash, bro. I was a damn good squash player in high
What's
school.
squash?
It's racquetball, but it's fast. It's faster
Oh.
paced racquetball. You need a little bit more athleticism, a little bit more speed. Ball's a little harder to hit, But I love squash. It's a great game. Maybe I'll play some baseball too. We'll see. Anyway, that is not why we're here. We are here today to preview the Switch Open Week of Doom. The Week of Doom. And this Week of Doom is far more doomy than our last Week of Doom during the Slam Open, because if you lose in the Switch Open Week of Doom, there's a chance that your whole season's over and you have to go to the Steel Open. Ooh, Doom. So we're gonna go through all the teams that lost last week.
Oh my god!
And
Speaking
then
of SpongeBob, it
yeah.
sounded like oh fuck! Whenever the like, Mermaid Man and Barnacle, the guy in the background who goes Mermaid Man,
Mermaid Man and
and
Barnacle Boy. Yeah. So welcome to the Switch Open Week of Doom. For the teams that are in it and for the players that are listening who can get eliminated this week and be out of playoff contention, may the odds be ever in your favor, even if they're most likely not in your favor. Okay, Dirk, let's start with the games that we saw last week. Mostly chalk. None of the first round matchups really had too many surprises. Heat won, Pistons won, Lakers, Pacers, Grizz won. Jazz were fine. NBL won as well. Sixers escaped the Kings after one of the funniest game glitches I've ever seen.
dude,
I can't. Let's actually start there. We've watched a lot of 3v3 games over the course of our time in league. We've never seen
Right.
anything like that.
nothing even comes close to it. It was the weirdest thing ever because I know it must have been like a server issue on 2K side because there was a lot of games crashing out that night.
Yeah, yeah.
But this one, I've genuinely never in my life seen it happen. And yeah, like you said, we have watched, fuck, how many games of threes?
So
Thousands?
many games, bro. So many games.
And I've never seen it before because so what I mean, people at home will know this because they hear what we hear a majority of the time, but like sometimes our audio never correlates with what it is. And so I heard a buzzer sound, and the
Yes.
audio that we hear is sometimes way ahead. So I hear the buzzer, and I'm like, that's weird. Like, is somebody playing like five scrimmages or
Mm-hmm.
something, or like a five shoot around?
Or it's just like the
Then
wrong feed, right? Wrong audio feed.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then I see I think it was the Sixers scored. No, Kings scored, right?
So the Sixers score. It's 21-20. Score has the ball. He is bringing the ball up the court. As soon as he basically crosses half court, and honestly, hilarious is open. Like he could maybe end up with a three. The quarter ends, and his player just drops the ball. Like it's the end of the quarter. And then it takes time to reset. And then they inbound the ball like they are restarting a basketball quarter in the middle of a 3v3 game. Now, it didn't have too much of an impact because, they could have hit a three. Maybe they shoot the three, they miss. They do end up getting a bucket, making it 22-21. But of course, in classic 2K fashion, the Sixers come down and hit a three and end the series. That was for
Mhm.
the series, by the way. And honestly, Dirk, I agree with the ruling from league operations that you just gotta let it play it out. You know, sometimes shit happens, but man, that was funny. I feel for the Kings, man. I do. They were finally on a win streak. They're finally starting to play well. Maybe about to like pull off the win that, and I don't want to save their season, but like define their 3v3 season.
Mhm.
And of course, they just get absolutely smacked. So shout out to Kingsguard, man. They tried. At least they ended up beating the dribble gods, so they can feel good about that.
Yeah, those things I always get like not confused by because so Philly ended up getting the ball. And so even regardless if score has takeover or not, like Philly has the ball and your takeover does nothing for you defensively.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not much that like I doubt that would have changed. I think you'd have more of an argument if, like the lockdown of the team had takeover and this happened. He lost it and then they ended up hitting a three. But like the point guard's impact defensively this year, either way, it was weird. I'm sure that league ops went through a spiraling headache trying to figure it out and like okay, like what is the just thing? Because I remember back, I'm assuming it's still the same. Like in the handbook, it's kind of like all things are final. Like whatever's in the screen, like regardless if the game glitches out,
Mm-hmm.
if that result ends, like, before like a pre-ruling or something like that, say like it ended and league ops got right in there, like end the game, like be done, tie game, like Philly just gets to play one possession.
Yeah.
I just don't think it was really worth it at that point because everyone would have reset their
Yeah.
takeovers. But like, so I don't know. It's the weirdest thing I've seen, honestly, in
That
the
was
league in
funky.
like for forever.
Oh, I just fluffed my hair up. I am interested to see if anything like this ever happens again. Along with the weirdness of that game, we also had a forfeit from one of our community teams. They got smoked by T Wolves Gaming. I believe it was Handles. Yeah, Team Handles just gave up. They allowed Bear to score 23 points from lockdown. They didn't want to play the game 3. I don't know if they're what was going on, but yeah, they forfeited. So the T Wolves got a big 3-0 win. I still have to figure out exactly like what they get for a forfeit win. I think it's a 3-0 or it's a 21-0, but we never got confirmation from League Ops. Did we? I don't think so.
No, we brought it up when we got quickly told to
To not
stop
bring it up
talking
anyway.
about
That's
it.
right.
So
like they're like stop talking
I
about this.
I don't know because we never had anything. Because I mean, what that'd make the point differential go
Well,
fucking
the
crazy, right?
website, just telling you what the website says. The website says 21-0. Okay. So I'm gonna go based off what the website said. I have the updated point differential. So for anybody who is interested and they're like, oh, does it make that big of a difference for point differential? The T Wolves point differential right now is 0.7. They're tied for 10th with Knicks Gaming, and they're 0.1 ahead of Pistons GT and 0.2 ahead from Dukes. So, meh, kind of a
Yeah.
marginal difference. I mean, they played 53 games, so 21-0. I don't think it's going to change too much here. Do you know what? To make it even more extreme, because I'm like that. I'm built like that. T Wolves Gaming has scored 1,020 points this year, and they've allowed 985. So let's say that was more of like a 21-15 game or whatever it was. They would have given up exactly 1,000 points and have scored 1,020, and that would make their point differential 0.4. So it's a small difference, but it is a difference. As of this time, point differential is not going to be deciding the tiebreaker for anybody make the playoffs. So if it ends up being a problem, we could talk more about it later, but I don't feel like talking about it. Okay. Before we get into our matchups this week, we have to do some RIP segments, and I wish I had some really cool like music for this, but we're gonna have to use our mouths again, Dirk, to make this music. Our first in memoriam as I clang Hell's Bells. Bong. RIP Wizards District Gaming as our number 1 pick for the 3rd year in a row. Just can't get it done in 3v3 for whatever reason. Benzo gets swapped to Big at one point. They brought in Type at one point. This was a team, Dirk, that like around the middle of the slam, we were like, oh, cool. Like, are they going to go up a level? Like, is it time? And then they just hit like a ceiling, and they hit that ceiling, and then they deflected off of it like a bullet and just went right to the ground. And they have been terrible ever since they hit that ceiling, and now they're out of the playoffs basically entirely. Crazy.
Yeah, it's weird too because so the one that sticks out the most that you just brought up, the past 3 years number 1 overall pick is gone out.
Yep.
when you look at the situations that are put in specifically for the threes mode, I think Benzo has had the best road to success out of what MDS had
Mhm.
and out of what was it Gallo? Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and what Gallo had. I'm pretty sure. Like I think that's safe to say. I mean, because the Wiz had a proven record, like with Awkward and Dean, like when they were out there, when they had Day Fry of being able to win threes games. So they had the weirdest exit for me because I thought this was going to be a team that was really going to flip things around
Yeah.
and pick it up from last year, like be able to make the stage and all this other stuff. But it just was not the case. I don't know the logic. One, I did not think Beerich is going to sniff threes. I don't think he was going to get anywhere near. And
That
if
was
he
a
did, I
shock.
don't. I didn't think he was going to be playing guard.
I
Like
think
I
we
was like,
said at the beginning of the year that if B Rich ends up playing guard in 3v3 for the Wiz, something very bad has happened. And
yeah.
yeah, something very bad happened.
And then so I'm like, cool, you have a chance to redeem yourself. You bring up back Benzo, Awkward, and Dini. Go with that. No, what do? They go fucking, was it Benzo, Nudini at lock and
Yep.
type on the inside?
It was, yeah.
It was the roster
I mean, they were
decisions. Like,
grasping at straws at that point. At that point, they were trying to see if there's anything that could possibly save their season. But yeah, it was
but
futile.
that's I never agree with let's throw out this shit and see if it works and maybe it catches us by surprise. We catch some momentum. That is a team that should always have Benzo out there, should have Awkward out there, and Nudini out there. I do not think Type is not a threes player. B Rich is not a threes player. If B Rich was playing, you got to put him somewhere else that is not at point guard. I think
Yeah.
that's it. Like he can shoot the ball like when he's open. He just doesn't have that threes like type arsenal like in his bag when he's playing. So if they don't come out with Benzo, Awkward, and Nudini for the steal, I mean just chalk it up in what's been a completely depressing threes run.
Sorry, I had
Cough
to cough.
cough.
Yeah, I didn't want to cough into the mic. I'm learning. I didn't cough into people's ears this time. Yeah, I'm sad about the Wiz. I was really high on them. I was hoping they were going to be like a late, maybe 8, 9, 10 seed. But I think, you know what? I think they just kind of fell victim to just how insane the 3v3 rosters are this year, man. Like they just couldn't keep up. And sometimes it happens. Sometimes you just get talented out. And look, Awkward and Dini are great players, right? It's just one of those things where can I pose something? Can I post something in kindness? Can I post something in kindness? Okay.
Yeah.
I think we have seen the peak of Nudini and just Awkward's careers already. And the peaks of their careers were individually the two best players in the league at their positions. Is that fair to say that that's what
Yeah.
their peak was? Awkward had a DPOI. Nudini is one of the best role players in the history of the league. And I'm not saying they're on the decline. I'm not saying that they're bad now. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying that I think the two of them have already played their best 2K. And you add Benzo into it, and it just didn't mix. And I think they asked a lot out of Awkward and Nudini. I don't think they're natural threes players for what it's worth. And I think that it just didn't mesh. But it doesn't make me any lower on this team in fives. I still think that this team in fives is going to play really good ball. I just don't think this is a threes team. It's just not. I don't think it is.
I think my issue comes from when you saw them have the most success in threes, right? That was when the mode was fresh.
Yeah.
Like it was just, first guys out there, try something random. And yes, their roster was the most unique roster to ever go out and have success with like the Day Fry, a guard, Awkward, and Dini combination. It was strange, funky, worked out for the first run. Even like going down the stretch when they changed some things up, they were able to adapt to it. But ever since then, like you go from to last year, nothing in threes, the exact same thing. So I think that with them and the situations that they've been in, they haven't been able to adapt to actually playing how threes is like supposed to be played.
Yeah.
They could play this unique style, and yes, it might have worked, but there's got to be like a different level to the things that you're doing. I don't exactly know what it is. That's why like I'm saying all this.
Yeah.
But there's just something about their gameplay compared to other lockdowns and other power forwards that are out there with their teams that just doesn't, completely click.
I think it should also go to show just how different 3v3 was back in season 5 when the Wiz were, winning, making it to tournament finals, making it to the finals. Like it is a much more, how do I put this? Like pure 3v3 experience now. Whether people want to say that, oh, the league doesn't play real threes or not. I mean, you look at what we started with, Dirk, and where things are now, looks far more like a classic 3v3 setup. And I think the Wiz might just be a little old-fashioned for this mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just a little too our best 2K players are from 2020, kind of vibe on this one. But again, I still think this team in fives is gonna rain some hell. So I'm interested to see what they do in fives. To the other side, another RIP as I ring another Hell's Bell.
Boom.
Bong. Blazer 5. Down the tubes. Guess what, Dirk? Guess what? I don't know. The new report. If you don't draft a lockdown, you're not going to be able to play defense. Blam! Shocker.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? It just watching this team the whole time was so frustrating because Claude was playing, he was shooting the hell out of the ball. And I thought Chaos, when he was in there, or he trying to play lock, he was good enough. I thought May at power forward was good enough. But man, oh man, their total lack of an elite wing kills this team. And when we came out of the draft, you and I were both unanimous that like Faiz at lock isn't going to work. Ubats at lock isn't going to work. You don't have a lock on the roster. Stop trying to sell to us that you have a lock on this roster. And what do you know, Dirk? They tried everybody at lock, and all of them stunk. Because they don't have a lock on the goddamn roster. And we were like, I felt like I was taking crazy pills. People were trying to talk me into Ubats playing 3v3 lockdown. Excuse me? Do you see the 3v3 locks that we have in the league right now? You think he's going to survive when we got guys like Bag Motion out here doing the shit that he's doing? Do you see what Jay Bullen is doing out here as a rookie? Who would have thought their draft didn't work? Sorry. Didn't work.
Yeah, it's
Didn't work.
I don't even know how to like put it into perspective because I thought it was a drastic change after you've played Claude all year to put him on the bench, and I thought we were asking for Ubats at the beginning. When it got to midseason, it's like cool, like don't take Claude out at this point, like just rock out with it.
Mhm.
I thought that they looked better with the Chaos and May lineup compared to what they brought out with like the Ubats, Faiz, and May lineup. Personally,
Bots is a great 3v3 guard, which would be
Yeah.
awesome if you didn't already have Claude.
I mean, but that's the thing too. We never even saw a Claude, Ubats, and Chaos or May lineup to even test it. But I doubt that it would be anything different. Maybe it's a steel lineup. Maybe they go back to the OG thing that they have. But yeah, I mean, this one's a lot easier to talk about compared to the Wiz one because the Wiz one makes you scratch your head. This one makes you go, well, everything's panning out how you drafted.
Yep. You know what it is with lock this year, and honestly, what frustrates me the most about the situation is that if you look at locks around the league, like sometimes you just need your lock to kind of carry you for a couple series, you know? Like,
Yeah.
look at what underrated GOAT is doing with the Hawks. Okay, the MDS low interior big thing, inside big, sorry. It's like, it's not really working anymore, but underrated GOAT shot like 90% from three across 2 series, and the Hawks are like in the playoffs now. Like look at what Kaze has. I wrote about this in my power rankings article. Watching Kaze play threes since the start of the switch is like watching a man walk on water. Like he has saved their season with his shooting, with his playmaking. Like he's providing a great defensive foundation for Justin. Like you just sometimes need your lock to carry you.
Yeah.
And they just did not have that guy. And sometimes, Dirk, I think GMs can maybe overthink situations. This didn't strike me as an overthink. This struck me as I think I know better. And now you have the pie on your face. And it is unfortunate that a roster that has a lot of potential on it. I think Bots looks great. I think he's going to be fun in fives. I think May, again, just looks like a excuse me, what's the word I'm looking for here? A competent NBA 2K League player, but they just don't have a wing. They don't have a lock. What is Faiz doing on this team? Like they put him at power forward, right?
This has to be a team that utilizes ad drop. Like I feel really bad calling for a team to make ad drop because like I love all the guys in the team. I love all the players that we have in the league. So I don't want to see anybody be out of a job. But like B5 has to drop somebody and pick up a lockdown if they want any hope of having any success in fives. I think that's clear. I think how much you're struggling in threes makes it much more clear cut that that's the move that you have to make for 5v5. If not, the fuck is the point of playing this year?
Well,
To be
that's the
brutally
thing. Like,
honest.
I don't think this team is that far away from being good. That's what's so frustrating. Like, I think Claude and Ubats is gonna work. Like, those are two really good guards that their skill sets mesh very well. I think May and Chaos is a serviceable front court. Like, you can survive with May and Chaos. Like, you'll get
Yeah.
rebounds, you'll get stops, you're fine. But like, if anything, I feel bad for Faiz or for. We realize it's Faiz.
Yeah, I think JT kept calling him Phase, but I'm like, bro,
Faiz.
we had this discussion when he came into the league.
Faiz.
Was it back in season 3? I have always just said Faiz. I will stick with Faiz, and I'm not changing it anymore.
I feel bad for him because I think there are a lot of teams that could really use his skill set, like really could use his skill set at shooting guard. And instead, he's just going to be on this cobbled, weird lineup that they're going to be trying for fives.
Do
It
you
just
do
didn't
you
work.
think that if they utilize ad drop, do you think Faiz is the one that'll be sacrificed in the ad drop out of all the 5 on the roster?
Man,
That's the hard hitting
can
question.
you ad wave the 8th overall pick, bro? Like, but that's the thing. Like, he's not bad. If anything, he's probably one of the top at half shooting guards in the league. I unfortunately think it might have to be bots, which sucks because I want to see him play fives.
Yeah. So I mean, I think regardless, either way, it would either be bots or Faiz.
I feel
I
for the
think
players. I don't feel for the team. They did this to themselves.
yeah. But so with ad drop, can a player be dropped off a team and picked up by another one?
I
Or
don't
is, like,
think
are
so.
they-
I think the
that's,
answer is no.
that's
That's
kind
why
of
this situation
man.
is honestly like it makes me angrier the more we talk about it because it was just completely avoidable. It was completely avoidable. Just don't draft Faiz
Yeah.
at 8. That's it. If the U-Bots pick to close out the second or third round, if they didn't take Faiz at 8, would have been one of the best picks in the draft. And then Faiz could have fallen to like the mid to late first round. He would have been a great pick for somebody there, but instead they just did this, and now they're out of threes in the first round of the switch.
Ridiculous.
It's not great, Bob.
RIP. Hopefully they can go back to back steals champion.
Yeah, that'd be great. Dude, if
And I can fake out with a trophy again.
Bro,
remember when everybody thought that I did that on purpose?
yeah. Dude,
That I was like handing the trophy to Claude when I was holding it in my arm and he went to go
you
grab
went
it.
to grab it, yeah.
And I'm like, how is that on me, bro? I was like, what the fuck?
Dude, if Joe is able to get this team to win the steal and get them into the playoffs, coach of the year. I said that from the jump. If he can get this team to the playoffs, he's the coach of the year, man.
Whoa. I don't know about that.
Who is the coach of
gotta
the
do-
year? Is it Nacho?
I'm not. I mean, the one thing I will never factor in threes for is coach of the year.
All right,
Everything
fine.
else,
All right,
yes.
fine.
But for threes, if I let's be real, ain't no fucking legit coaching being done. Players wear the fucking headsets and
Sure.
do the most talking.
Any other? Do you want to talk about any of the community teams whose seasons are done? The Twins, they looked competent. I can't speak today. Competent. Isles Gaming Team. Salute. Fun to see them compete. Perform well.
Do we have our we have number 1 locked in, which is
Yes, Dribble Gods are locked in, and now it's between Rim Runners and Isles Gaming Team. So I believe that the Rim Runners need to win at least 1, if not 2 series to jump over the Isles Gaming Team, which is a shame because I think Dario, Draco, and Crucify have played really well. But I think it just goes to show that these community teams continue to be an absolute just incredible idea. Like one of the best additions the league has ever had because Quickster, Swag's return, and their guard, whose name is escaping me, which is bad because he's really good. Shifty, thank you. They're fantastic. They're great. They're so fun to watch. They play a very different kind of street ball style of 3v3. It's very fun. Community teams are great. And now Rim Runners get Mavs Gaming and Day Fry this week. So
Are you ready to see Dario in a B5 jersey after ad drop?
Yeah, honestly, I would not hate that. That is not a bad idea. Like that is not a bad call out, man. Like he would bring like some real stability to their front court. Like there's so many locks that they could pick up. They could pick up Follow for Christ's sakes, and they would probably be pretty good.
So here's my thing, is that one, I will stick with this probably the rest of the way in threes, regardless of like Rim Runners or anybody else. Dribble Gods like makes a run. Dario is number 1 on the ad drop list.
Yeah,
I think he has proven himself. Um, I know obviously that the ad drop list has players from last year's pool too, but I think with what Dario was doing, I like the way that he has had like some lapses in judgment, but he's been able to make up for almost every single one that he has had. And I know that he is very good in 5v5 as well, but he is number one on the. I will keep on throwing that to people's brains every time on broadcast when Dario plays or something like that. He should be the number one guy, and he should be on a 2K League roster in a couple months.
The
I,
the
I, I hope so anyway.
the problem, it's funny because like he fits right into, the kind of league rosters that we have right now, but like, man, lockdown in the NBA 2K League right now
Yeah,
is unbelievable. Like we've never had this much talent. Like never even close to this much talent at the lockdown position. So I think Dario would be a nice add to that list. Also, wouldn't I don't know if Quickser plays a lot of fives, but I would not hate if somebody gave him a shout. I am probably going to lose my not real fake bet of taking the over on 3.5 ad drops. The community team scene just did not, I think, formulate the way I was hoping. I was hoping that Kenny was going to maybe make a run. That didn't really happen. I was thinking maybe Baby Virgil could make a run. Not so much. Draco, also another candidate. He's been looking good, but I don't know if the team is going to drop. I haven't been hearing a lot of ad drop rumors among teams, so we'll see. This is a big week for it, honestly. We'll probably start hearing it after this week.
Who's to say, like, for example, right? Like, if Dribble Gods goes into the playoffs and they make like a deep run, maybe that can change it. I think that the playoffs with the community guys, if they are able to make runs, I think that changes every little aspect of it.
Yeah.
I think that'll really help out. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I initially I was like, yeah, a lot of teams are going to utilize the ad wave. Then I saw the community teams this year. I'm like, this is very, very underwhelming what the community's bringing us. And I honestly have not been keeping up with post draft all that much. It just seems like Joe Knows is just running through everybody. So I don't think that's a good sign for people trying to make the league if that is the case. But then again, I don't follow it all too much.
Yeah, I'm interested to see like what the ad wave ends up getting, and I can't talk today. What it ends up looking like, and if any teams actually pull the trigger on it this year after the wacky and awful reception to some of the ad waves last year. So we'll see. Anyway, those are the teams that are out. RIP B5, RIP Wizards this year gaming, RIP not drafting a lockdown when you need a lockdown, and RIP to the community teams outside of Dribble Gods, Rim Runners, and Isles Gaming Team. We salute you. All right, on to this week. The week of doom.
Hold on. When you just said salute, so I was completely off topic.
Uh-huh.
When you said salute, I thought of national anthem.
Yes.
So they did intros before our game yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And so they come up to us and our team. I have a team like everybody else I think is Mexican apart from me. My best friend's Albanian. He wasn't born in the US. They come up to us, they said, any US born people on this team? And I'm like, I'm not. There's only one person who goes like, yeah, like I am. So they had to have him carry out the American flag. So you know how like every national anthem has longer renditions of it?
Yeah.
But like in the sports ones, they'll cut it down like one main verse and then that's it. They played the United States national anthem, then they start playing the Mexican national anthem, Harris. 5 minutes fucking long, standing there for 5 minutes. And I'm like, we're all looking around at each other like, what the fuck? Because I've heard the Mexican national anthem during sporting events. I'm like, oh, it's like 45 seconds, like the average like song. 5 minutes straight standing there.
Oh my
Everybody
God.
else in the crowd is like hand over heart, then like putting their heart like hand down, like what's happening? Was so confused. I was sweating profusely because it was hot in there.
Yep.
But I'm also just like striking a pose in front of everybody too. So I'm like, I don't want to be disrespectful and start turning around and like doing all this stuff. Oh, but I'm sorry. I was just like, if you were in the crowd, you'd have been like, what the fuck is going on? Why are they just standing there for so long? Anyway, that was my fun little pre-final story where I was just stunned.
That's a great story. Thank you for telling us that story. All right, let's get into the week of doom. The Switch Open champion will be decided on Saturday, but we have a long way to go before that happens. We have teams in the upper bracket. We have teams in the lower bracket. So, Dirk, how do you want to start our lovely weekly preview? You choose.
Let's do upper bracket because lower bracket doesn't have matchups yet.
Okay, we'll start with the upper bracket. Let's start with our first one. Maybe the matchup of the first round. Heat Check Gaming taking on Pistons GT. Both of them are members of the new group I like to call the Big Six. They are the 6 teams that I have deemed to be the title contenders at this point in the season. Heat Check Gaming I have at number 3. and Pistons GT I have at number 5. Thrilling matchup. Probably the best test that Heat Check Gaming is going to get to their current structure. We saw these two teams square off in the Slam Open, if I'm correct.
In
Pistons
the lower
GT
bracket,
in
yep.
the lower bracket. Pistons GT won that battle. It was a 5 game battle. It was a lot of fun. I remember Kai had a chance to win the series. I think he missed a 3, and the Pistons came down and won at the other end. I could be
Wasn't
wrong.
that they had a crazy ending sequence, right?
Yes,
Like
yeah.
another one, yeah.
Yeah, they had a couple of crazy games. So we get to see a rematch of that. I'm sure the Heat are going to be looking for revenge. I almost favor Miami in this series based off how they've played, but I don't know. What do you make of where Detroit is at right now? It's kind of hard to get a good vibe off of them.
I think they definitely played probably the best that we've seen them open up a tournament with, like with how dominant things were. Ant played phenomenal, which is I think we've been kind of waiting for like an uptick in his production. We finally ended up getting that.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure I could go back and look at the archive of the archetypes. He swapped off the inside out playmaker, so now he's back on the 3-point hunting build.
Yeah,
Which again, I know what we in pre-draft we always typically call Ant a slasher because he is. He's always going to build that dunks. I know for threes that he's a chuck and likes to have builds that have the 3-point shot, which is why I'm kind of surprised he's stuck on the inside out playmaker for so long. Like it is
Mhm.
nice to be able to get a dunk meter, be able to green it, get that way, but it does hinder your 3-point shooting ability quite a bit. So him being on this, it can go one of two ways because the perfect counter to somebody who is chucking up threes is going to be having Dietrich out there.
yeah,
And because these centers, they could go up high, double up and contest, but they're going to be able to soar from that 3-point line and go down to the paint to be able to grab those rebounds.
yep,
So I think they'll stack up evenly. I don't think it'll be what they played in group stage too. And I think the Heat swept them
yep,
in the group stage. I don't think it'll be that easy for the Heat. I think they do have the upper hand, though. I think they are the hottest team that we obviously have right now. They're playing in a unique style that some people have been able to crack in a sense. But as of late, it has been like a real struggle. I think the key for beating this team is obviously one, trying to ice out Kai, which is definitely easier said than done. But anytime, like when we do, if we do like a pregame graphic for this,
yeah.
I know that you help influence those
Yes, I
sometimes.
do.
Fuck a Kai versus Ant. Give me a Dietrich versus Connor. Like, because
Okay.
the popper in this instance is going to be the one that's going to win the series, or honestly, like lose the series for them. They have the most pressure on them. It's going to come down to like how they beat them in the lower bracket, right? They're throwing up all these shots. Kai misses everything.
Yeah,
Dietrich, this, that, maybe he can get 5 offensive rebounds. Harrison, I'll have 5 misses, but that 6 rebound that goes to Connor is the most pivotal one to be able to win them the game. You have to get some things like that. So I'm expecting a very, very high energy series coming out of this.
yep,
I still am going to give the edge to Heat Check Gaming, but I think if Connor can bring that same energy, the rebounding prowess that we've seen him bring in other games before, I think the Pistons could take it. But
yeah.
it's as much as I obviously Kai, I said he's the most explosive, most exciting player that we ever had in threes. I think that's going to be the one key. It's going to be slowing down that rebounding when Kai starts getting to his rhythm and just putting up threes.
I think a big part of it too will be Ant not missing so many shots. I mean,
Yeah.
Connor and Jomar have done a great job this year of shooting well out of the corner. Both of them are above 84% true shooting. Both of them are above 60% shooting from 3. Like they're money out of the corner. And I think that the problem that I've seen with Pistons GT is that like Ant can just get kind of lazy. Like I know that sometimes in these games he's not, maybe not putting in 100% because they know that when the money's down they'll be fine. But it is a little bit concerning to see him always kind of revert back to these bad like ways, almost, if that makes sense. Like he always reverts back to this lazy style of just chucking up threes when he doesn't really care anymore, and that's fine. It's just sometimes you have to be careful. You got to be careful as somebody who's learning about bad habits and how they get created. You have to be really careful that those bad habits don't spread into the good parts of your game. So he's going to have to make sure this cannot be a classic Ant chucking up 6, 7, 8 threes a game and being 1 of 8, 2 of 7. Like this can't be that series. He needs to spread the ball around, keep the efficiency high, and make sure that Dietrich, like you said, doesn't eat on the boards. Because look, it's not just the offensive rebounds for the Heat, man. It's the defensive rebounds too. Maddie's been great on the boards this year when Dietrich's been pulled out of the paint. Dietrich's been good, like you said, off of those contests and getting back down on the board. So it's the defensive rebounding too that the Pistons are going to have to be careful with if they want to get out of this alive.
Agreed. It's gonna be tough because we know it's never a 1-on-1 battle with rebounds.
Yeah.
And the Pistons all do like the little things together. Looking at the numbers too, I just went back and found it. And in that Cavs Legion series, averaged 13 points a game, 2 assists, 44% from three, 61% from the field.
Yeah.
So, like, honestly, an insane jump to at least his points per game numbers. I think he came in averaging like 9.5
Yeah.
going into the bracket play portion. So,
If there is one thing that the Pistons do that does give me confidence in this matchup, and it's one thing that they do probably more than any other team in the league, Dirk, they love that circle button. They love boxing out.
mhm.
Ant loves to box out. Joe Mark can box out. Connor's always down there, making an impact. So I'm very, very excited for this series. It's going to tell us a lot about how these teams are going to match up in the playoffs too, if we get that far.
Yep.
All right, Hornets Venom GT taking on Magic Gaming. The Hornets. They listened to us. They ended up starting the actual best lineup on the team instead of screwing around with one of the worst 3v3 lineups ever put out in the NBA 2K League. But unfortunately, Dirk, they are walking into a series against Magic Gaming, who have won 4 of their last 5, who have won 6 of their last 8, who the only teams that can seem to beat them are either the Lakers or the Heat. That's it. I think this might be the official beginning of the end for Hornets Venom GT. What a terrible, terrible second round matchup for them trying to resuscitate their year.
I mean, I think the Magic should take it. I could see a world where somehow this Magic Hornets run just happens.
Yep.
Spurs out of nowhere. But Orlando should take it. Well, I think Orlando in the group stage lost to Dukes as well, right?
Yeah, they did have that one loss to Dukes. Yes.
So they have they're interesting because they do have some weaknesses, but I think a lot of the weakness comes from when Unguardable goes cold, he goes cold. And that might be them dropping a game, but they usually bounce back.
Yeah.
And so you don't really see a whole lot of that. But for the Hornets, man, we already saw this team implode in group play. So cool, you're showing me your best lineup. If that starts going south, what are the vibes going to be like? Because you were quick to pull this guy off the floor when this ended up happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad matchup. Magic should take this.
I agree. Maybe a little revenge matchup for the Hornets. They did get embarrassed in front of their home crowd by the same Magic Gaming team. So maybe they come out. I would not be surprised if the Hornets took a game. I don't think this will be a sweep. We'll see if they're able to turn it into a series win, though. That'd be pretty nuts. Coming up next, Rim Runners taking on Mavs Gaming. This is a really dangerous series for the Mavs. I think this Rim Runners team is better than them. I think Fana, Dave Fry, and Jarcy are playing good ball right now, but I think if you look at just how these teams have played against NBA 2K League teams this year in 3v3, I think the Rim Runners should be the favorites. I like this team a lot. They're playing good ball. I'm not totally convinced by the Mavs yet. I went back and I rewatched their series. Fan is starting to hit shots, and that's covering up a lot of the same defensive problems that they've been having all year long, whether it's Jarcy being late, Dave Fry being late to things, Fan not playing great one-on-one defense. To me, the Mavs defense is as much of a concern as their continuation of hitting shots. I'm going to take the Rim Runners here. I don't think I'm going to buy into the Mavs revival just yet.
I mean, this one's tough because the Rim Runners shouldn't even be in this round. They shouldn't. The Lecce should not have shot that absolute crack shot, which led to them losing the entire series.
One of the worst shots of the year, I think it is
Crazy.
fair to say. And honestly, one of the most impactful shots of the year, because if the Celtics win that, they basically lock up a playoff spot. But if they lose in the next round, there's a lot of teams that could jump up over the Celtics. So that could be a really, really big shot.
And it's hard to pin it on a shot because it did extend the series, but it's come on, you can fucking close out the last two either. You gave the Rim Runners that much life, and of course, I'd be hyped too if I just watched somebody shoot some nut shit and I come back and I win the games to start getting the reverse sweep. I do think that the Rim Runners Magic is still kind of going. They're the best community team. They put up the best fight against the NBA 2K League teams. They've shown you that never back down spirit, as you just saw it win that Celtics series. I think they'll take this too. I like what I'm seeing from the Mavs. I like that Fanta's finally closing out. So before, we could make a whole highlight clip of Fanta game-winning scenarios. Clank. Get a rebound. Clank. Go back down. Another chance. Clank. He is now just greening every single thing. But I do worry when they do face another high-impact guard. They played the Wiz round one. As much as we want to hype up the storyline of Dave Fry against his old team, that's a shit matchup.
Yeah.
That's not a good matchup to watch between them. The Wiz team that just has not looked good. The Mavs obviously picking up. the one thing I can give them credit for, and that kind of makes me a little bit more of a believer, they swept the Wiz.
They
They
did.
didn't drop the game. They swept. So I still think the Rim Runners, looking better than a lot of 2K League teams. Obviously, best community team. I think they should take this. But if the Mavs win this, then I'm like, okay, the Mavs are the real deal. But the issue is that the next matchup, if they were to win playing Gen G or the Hawks, that's where I'm like, okay, now this is the ultimate test. Like
Yeah.
these are just little baby steps. You get past this, okay, yeah, like you can't doubt you anymore.
We're going to find out everything we need to know about this Dallas team in the next 2 days.
Yep.
That's for sure. By the way, if Mavs Gaming lose, Nets GC.
Oh my god.
Anyway, on to our next matchup. Gen G taking on the Hawks. Again, I feel like we've seen these two teams play a bunch this year. They've been fun. Honestly, dude, I am getting real worried about the Hawks. I think underrated GOAT and his unbelievable shooting performance last week is covering up a lot of issues I'm starting to have with this team. And I think that Gen G is the silent assassin of 3v3 this year. We haven't really been talking about them a lot here in the Switch Open, have we? No, haven't mentioned them a lot.
They don't get a lot of featured games.
No, they don't get a lot of featured games. They've been pretty quiet. But they have been absurd. They're absurd. They're 14-7. I can give you a better one. They are 4-1 in series this year, or in the Switch Open so far. They're coming off of a sweep. They have the third highest point differential of any team so far in this tournament. I think this is the beginning of the end for the Hawks. I think Gen G is going to take care of business.
Yeah, I know that the Hawks beat them in the slam, but like a lot has changed then. We obviously saw the run that Gen G ended up going on when they got down to the lower side of things. It's crazy because we don't talk about Gen G much, but when we do get the glimpse of them on broadcast, we are immediately blown away. We're like, holy shit. Like they're dominating. They should take this again. I think that the Hawks have a little bit of a recipe to be able to make the inside big successful. I'm not sure how much I like the change of MDS switching over to shooting guard. I think he did it in the middle of the Switch Open. I understand like shooting the nut stuff, right? And you probably have a better chance like with a T-Mac base and being on this like bigger guard. We've seen the shots that Tutok has been able to hit throughout the year. But I think that you have to have a point guard who can dribble and make him true. Like I think it looks a lot better with the point guard. But Gen G should end up taking it. I don't think it'll be easy because it's never easy with the inside because they always will give you a fighting chance or almost a guaranteed bucket every single time on offense too, if you have to play a scrappy game. But yeah, I think Gen G, their like main thing that they had to work on was kind of like the composure and communication. I feel like every listen that we did for them in the slam when they got to like those crucial games, everything was falling apart. Like they go down by 2 possessions and it's like, okay, I think they just lost the game already.
Jeez. I honestly, I think my issue with the Hawks, because I just kind of walked past it, like what my issue has been with them over the past couple weeks. Okay, Glow has not played the whole year, right? Or Low now. He's not played the whole year. He's played 39 games, Dirk. I want you to remember that number, 39. In 3v3, the man has 176 rebounds in 39 games.
That's a lot of misses.
What? He has 70 offensive rebounds in 39 games. He has it's not sustainable. It's just not. And I'm worried that the Hawks are a bit at the end of their rope when it comes to this strategy. It's just too much. It's too many misses. It's too many misses. It's too many spices.
Alexander Hamilton back in the fucking 1800s. Yeah. There's too many misses in my house.
It's just too many missed shots, and MDS is just completely plummeted down the 3-point shooting percentages. He's now at 42.5% from 3. He's at 7.7 points per game, 4 assists per game. It's just not looking good, Chief. Too many misses, too much requirement to play insane defense for long periods of time, and a lot of stress being put on GOAT to be one of the best 3-point shooting lockdowns in the league. And I just want to say this. He has been this year. He has not in the past. And I'm worried that if the just like with the Nets, when the regression to the mean came for Streets, it came for the Nets as a whole. And I'm worried that if the regression to the mean happens to GOAT, it's going to happen to the Hawks. So just keep an eye out on them this week. I think Genji will take care of business. Okay. Lakers, Pacers. Another thrilling matchup. And finally, the Lakers are given a team that could actually maybe compete with them, Dirk. Yay! Oh, I'm so excited to see Lakers actually play a competitive series. It'll be Cooks, Sub, and J-Snags, the new super lineup coming out after the Pacers absolutely demolished T-Wolves Gaming. I'm very excited to see this matchup. I think this is the first time where I actually think that Lakers Gaming might lose. I think this Pacers team is really good, and they could be one of our shocking switch open teams with this new lineup because Sub is shooting lights out from 3. I'm still going to pick the Lakers because I don't think it's actually possible to beat this team. But I really like the Pacers. I think this team has as good of a shot as any to actually beat the Lakers in this round.
Yeah, bro, the Lakers are they're the best. Like there's no other like real way to put it. This is the most dominance that we've seen from a team to kick off a year. I mean, honestly, the Raptors one is obviously the most dominant because that happened in fives and COVID with how many games you had to play. But this is probably what the second best run that we've ever seen to be able to kick off a season in the way that they have. Like no let up at all. One series lost, and to be able to say that series loss comes from a grand final was like the ultimate flex of a loss. Like, yeah, like we dropped one grand finals, then we came back and we ended up winning it. I think it'll be close because I like with the new lineup the way things have looked. And Cooks, remember when we had this conversation about Cooks, like how he can win you a series, but then he has those drop offs. Like he can make runs and tournaments, but he always has that drop off. That is my fear that might happen. We just saw peak Cooks. That is the one that everyone's like, "Oh my god,
he was
sensational.
He was outstanding in that series."
But usually, if you look down the line, we get a Cooks performance like that. We might get one in this round. At some point in one of these future rounds, we are going to have one of those poor shooting performances that is just going to be too much for the defense to try to overcome. The Lakers will establish their rhythm, and then they'll be able to go through. I think that there could be a potential for an upset if the Lakers have any let up. And, you know, with how many game 4s and game 5s they've had to win throughout the year and not being able to really solidify themselves with the sweep. But I think LA will take it. They're still my team. I think from our predictions that they're going to be the one that'll be in the grand finals through the upper bracket again.
Yeah. So Pacers Gaming went down 2-0 to T-Wolves Gaming. After that, Cooks game 3, 16 points, 2 assists, 10-point win. 21-19 after that, Cooks 10 points, 5 assists, 4-7 from the field. And then a game 5 performance for the ages, 16 points, 2 assists, 6-6 from the field, 4-4 from 3. You're right, man. His peaks are as good as really anybody we got in this league, but his valleys, man, oof. Man, they can come at any time. You never really know when you're going to get a Cooks Valley. So we'll see how he does against LA this week. Okay. I mentioned how Heat Check and Pistons GT is the best matchup of the first round. It's the best.
Yeah.
Those are two best teams. The most interesting matchup of the first round is Grizz Gaming Dukes Infinitos. Grizz Gaming, nobody's been watching Grizz Gaming. I've been watching Grizz Gaming, Dirk. They have looked outstanding over the past couple of weeks now. Ever since they lost that second series in the Slam, they've been great in the switch. They're now 4-1. Vandy's driving the bus. MVP candidate. Odom, one of the best three-point shooting wings that we have in the league this year. Icy starting to really turn his defense around. I really like this Grizz team. I think they're setting themselves up for a nice run in the playoffs. I don't think a championship run, but a nice run. I think they'll make a good attempt at it. And then you got Dukes, man. They've had a positive point differential all year long, despite their horrific record. They're coming off a huge win over the Nets. They beat the Magic and the Nets in the past 2 weeks. Ryan's playing good ball. Gazuli's playing a good lockdown, showing you that Blazers, come on. It's not that hard. You really messed it up. This is a sneaky first round matchup, man. And I think this is a sneaky upset alert for Dukes Infinitos. Sneaky. I like it. I like how Dukes has been playing. It's the Vandy Bowl. Wait, I forgot to mention. It's the Vandy. I played one game for this team bowl.
I got the Grizz.
Okay.
I'm going back-to-back answer. Ryan screen recorded my last one.
He did.
I picked that, then I should have beat them. And
he owned you.
fair credit. The one time I make a logical prediction.
Yep. Sorry, buddy.
nothing comes of it.
This is
I
not
guess it
this
wasn't
is
that.
not a place for logic and reason. Okay, this is a place for chaos and disaster.
So I'm gonna go with the Grizz. I'm a firm believer in Vandy, especially in this tournament, because we've seen what he can do in this. I do like what I'm seeing from Duke. So my disappointing thing is just we never get to see much of Duke's.
Yeah,
So it's like I think we jumped into what the final game of their series against
yeah.
the Nets. I can't really remember, to be brutally honest with you, because we watched so much. But just for the sake of it, I'll just take the Grizz.
Can I can
No
I
in-depth analysis from your boy.
can I put a little Vandy propaganda out there? Because I
Go
don't I
ahead.
don't I don't think people really understand how good of a season he's having. Okay, here's a little Vandy propaganda for you. He is the only player in the league averaging 11 points per game. Alongside of that, 2.35 assists per game. He is averaging the lowest turnovers per game of any point guard that is scoring more than 8.5 points per game. His turnovers per game this year, 0.39. Nobody else even comes close. 76% true shooting, 49% from three. His efficiency numbers have been disgusting. A 6.1 assist to turnover ratio, a 1.45 points per possession, all on a 60% usage rate. He is fucking cooking. He's cooking. He has been, in my opinion, the second best guard in 3v3 so far this year. And if the Grizz win this tournament, which probably not going to happen, I don't think it is unfair to talk about him in the same vein as Shifty Kai from a 3v3 MVP perspective. Because he is cooking. You literally, the only way that you can play better in 3v3 than Vandy is playing right now is be Shifty Kai. That's it. That's the only way. He's having one of the best 3v3 seasons we've ever seen from a guard, and I feel like nobody's talking about it because of how good Kai has been and, how good the Magic look and all that jazz. But Vandy is doing his damn thing.
This really puts like the emphasis on, I shouldn't say a bias, but how much you get to watch one team from featured games.
Yeah.
And when the teams aren't featured as much, how you just kind of like get lost and you really have to go look at the numbers because you can't go back and look at some of the games. But
Yeah.
I trust your judgment with numbers always.
He's cooking. I think the three best guards in 3v3 this year have been in order: Kai, Vandy, Gallo. Those are my three. And if you go Kai, Gallo, Vandy, I'm not going to argue. We're not going to have a fight over that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight with you over that. Gallo's fantastic. Okay, on to the next. Jazz Gaming Raptors Uprising GC, a matchup of two teams that desperately need this game. Jazz Gaming hanging on to the playoffs without the steal by an absolute thread. If they win this game, they are back in it. They are back at 80 points, and they are officially in the hunt. Raptors Uprising GC, 50 points. If they win this series, they are also right back in the playoff hunt. This is a very impactful matchup, but I will say this Jazz Gaming team is now starting to play like we thought that they were going to be playing at the start of the year. And I wrote about it. I already mentioned how well he's been playing. I need to shout out Kaze again because in my article, I mentioned how you can always tell the players who are taking the leap based off of how often they sometimes just go, all right, I'm putting the team on my back here. All right, I got this, guys. I got this. Just sit over there. And he has been stellar. He's been so good. He's taking the second-year lock leap, which we've seen a lot of guys take over the year. We saw Bag Motion do it last year. We've seen a bunch of other guys do it over the past couple of years. Here, I'll give another good example. We saw Dawsix do this in year 2 in the league, make a really big leap. We saw Tazo do this year 2 in the league. All the best locks in the league always have a year 2 jump. They always have it. And Kaze's going through it right now. Bodes very well for them in 5v5 and for the rest of threes. I think the Jazz win this one, and this might be the start of a very fun run. They have a great side of the bracket. They're 2 rounds away from facing the Lakers, but they can win this round, and they get the winner of NBL Sixers in the next. So,
Yeah, I'm still not a believer in the Raptors despite them winning.
They shouldn't have beat the Bucks. The Bucks totally sold that series again.
And good on them to be able to capitalize. I think that though Dime's not playing for what's been 3 weeks now, and then coming back into the lineup, I always think that's one that you should be able to close out. But it was too close for comfort on the closeout. But again, the Raptors are a team that was just flip flopping rosters just a few days before they were even playing. When we were looking at the games from that following week, I think the Jazz, and I believe it'll show. I think they're just on a different level right now. They're playing how they did when they kicked off the Slam, which is what we were waiting for them to get back into form. And usually, some teams don't get back into form. They will just have that collapse, and then that's where they'll just coast the rest of the year. This is a Jazz team who switched things up at one point and had Rhea out there on the inside, immediately went back to this. And that's what I like. It's the realization of Rhea on the inside. is not going to be the answer. As much as a great player that he is, the lineup that you have to run has to be Justin, has to be Kaze, has to be Miami.
Yeah.
That is it. No one else should see the floor at this point. Ride it through and see, despite whatever criticism that you might get. But I think that this is one where you'll see a jump when it comes down to how good one team is and how bad the other one is.
Yeah, Justin having a nice rookie season. 9.2 points per game, 3.2 assists per game, 0.56 turnovers per game, keeping that number low. Shooting's a little under where you want it to be, only 46% from three. But honestly, as a rookie, man, he's doing about as good as you could expect. I mean, he was a late second, early third round pick, if my memory serves me, and he's starter level, man. He is a starting level 3v3 guard in the league. I think you can officially put that Justin, when they drafted him to play threes. Check mark, success. I think the Justin pick has been a hit. Okay, our last first round matchup, NBL Oz Gaming versus 76ers GC. And it's good because we are coming up on the hour mark. This is a really fun matchup. The Sixers probably should have lost to the Kings, but they didn't. No Jaden. It would be the Jaden Bowl, but Jaden's not going to play. NBL's starting to figure it out. What do you make of NBL, man? Because I watch them play. They're winning, but I'm not crazy impressed. I'm worried that it's a little bit fake. This will be a good test for them because if they can't beat the Sixers, then it was fake all along.
Yeah, it's I don't really know how to feel about them because I still feel like they're like an average team.
Yeah,
who is just like they've really just started to pick it up.
I think both these teams are average for what it's worth.
I don't think they do anything flashy. I think they keep like the threes game mode, as basic as possible, just trying to establish some rhythms. I still think that Plou's shooting is a little bit funky. I know that from the series that we watched them play against the Triple Gods, he had some open corner threes to be able to win the game and just kept on prolonging the series. The Sixers going back to the pop, you could definitely see some growing pains with it. Like with Dre, which is weird because you think that it might be the opposite with a player.
It did
like
open
him.
up the floor for Dre more, which I was okay with. I didn't hate that.
But my thing is that I like to be the guy that's going to throw this out there. Like, you potentially won because the game malfunctioned. That is how you beat Kingsguard Gaming. Like, just to be devil's advocate for a second. But you also, that's, I know that the Kings started getting a few wins. That's still the worst team that we had in terms of NBA 2K League teams in 3 versus 3 at the time. Like, just getting a couple wins now after starting off winless for so long.
Yeah.
That's a cause for concern, but I think NBL will take it.
I agree. I'm gonna go with NBL here too. I like the Sixers, man, but I'm with you. The Plou shooting is starting to get weird. He's 21 of 56 from 3 this year. It's just not good enough. I also have similar concerns about bag motion, man. Bag was a generational 3-point shooter last year. Like it can't be understated here. I'm just gonna bring it up. I'm gonna bring up Bag's line from last year just to remind people how ridiculous he was. He was the best lock in threes last year. I don't think it was a real question. Bag motion last season. Good Christ. Here are his shooting numbers. This is insane. 87% true shooting, 72% from the field, 59% from 3. For the season total, he was 89 of 152 from 3. That's a lockdown. This season, Bag, 66% from the field, 40% from 3, and he's 24 of 60 from 3. It's just not the same. It's just not the same. Just not. All right. On to our lower bracket teams. We'll talk about them quickly, and then we will close out our episode. Cavs Legion. Anything to say about the Cavs? I think we've said all that we've needed to say about them over the...
TB could shoot the ball.
Yeah, he made a couple shots, and they lost anyway. And then they beat Team Glitchy. Knicks Gaming, they lost to the Hornets and then beat the Blazers. SMH, man.
Disappointing.
It's so disappointing. Speaking of disappointing, Celtics Crossover Gaming, they lose to the Rim Runners and they sweep the Wiz. Got to be the most confusing team in threes this year. Every single time I think they're about to make a run, they're just... Nope. Just kidding.
It's crazy because they're the best team that's down here right now.
They put up unbelievable numbers. Like their raw numbers this year are insane. Like Leche, dude. Leche's averaging 10.5 points per game on 86% true shooting. He's shooting 62% from the 3. and this team like can barely make it out of like the third round. I don't get it.
It's
It's
ridiculous.
so shocking. They're so good. They gotta keep losing. Warriors gaming squad. They took down GCL. I guess their new lineup of Mama, Kenny, and Cease is all right. Thumbs
A
up.
little funky. It's,
Thumbs to the side. Thumbs to the side.
yeah, I'm like
Thumbs to the side.
thumb to the side, kind of pointing
A
like
little-
up,
little up.
like this.
T-Wolves Gaming swept handles in the worst series of the year. I maybe this team just isn't that good.
T-Wolves?
Yeah.
I thought they were when they ran out here with this 3. When they started making changes, I think
You know-
everything got a little out of whack.
I'm going to propose something very strange to you. Can I propose something strange? I think the
Mhm.
T-Wolves are one of the first teams in the league that we have had that have 3 individual players who I think are all good. I don't think any of the 3 of them are bad, but I think they're all good. And I just think the team is bad. And I cannot remember the last time that we had 3 players on a threes team that I thought were all good, yet the team sucked.
I don't think Tutak's giving us enough from behind the arc anymore.
He's not. It's weird.
He has been looking at the Pacers series, I think is what it was. He was rim running his ass off. I brought it up on broadcast. He was like in total in the series, like 2 for 6 from 3. Like that is crazy. Only 6 attempted threes over the course of a series.
It's
That's
he's 92 of 151 from 3 this year, but just going through a couple other guards that have played 52 games this year. We have Cooks, who has taken 198 threes in 52 games. You have a guy, here we go, here's one. Ryan 101 has taken 146 threes in 48 games. Ant is a terrible example. He's taken 233 threes in 63 games. I think my point is that I agree with you. Tutak's 3 rate needs to go up drastically.
he's doing the thing that we saw. Like I hate going to this example because I hope CP doesn't listen to this and like, damn, why the fuck did I always bring it up? He's like the CP and FT method right now. It's like they just get up and they just take a 2. They're not even trying to like dribble around and dance around for 3. I don't know if that's just because he's on a shooting guard build, so maybe he's not trying to move as much and like he's just trying to play it as basic as possible. So maybe there has to be a switch at some point to where he ends up getting off the shooting guard.
Yeah.
And maybe comes out for point guard. I don't know. But yeah, it is weird. We know it when you're a point guard and you're majority taking 2s. That means you're heavily relying on Bear to Beast and Iggy Mo to be able to get you stops on one side. And obviously against the Pacers, you saw how like with Cooks when he is putting up threes and he's making threes. If you play a guard who gets hot against the T-Wolves, the T-Wolves are not going to end up winning unless Tutak can respond.
I actually think it's almost too much Bear and Iggy mode. It almost needs to be like Tutak shooting the ball more, which is kind of crazy to say. I wonder if he needs to be a little bit more selfish. Though his selflessness has honestly been one of the most fun parts to watch his game this year. So it's a delicate balance.
Did Bear set the individual scoring record? I know he was tweeting about it.
I think we've had people score 23 before. I think he probably tied it. Well, I think we've had people who scored more than 23 because we've had some games go really, really long. I'll have to look it up. I'll have to look that up.
We'll get Josiah on the case.
Nets GC. I'm officially dubbing this a collapse. This is a collapse. I'm happy they beat Isles Gaming Team. Losing to Dukes and Vanitos is a collapse. I have them still in the Big 6 of teams who I think can win the title. They lose this week, they're out. They have to basically win the switch for me to keep them in it because I think this team is hanging by a thread in this game mode, and I think it's about to snap.
Whoever they play, like they should be winnable to the standard that Nets GC has set. Either playing the Mavs or the Rim Runners.
I mean,
like that should be one of the.
We called the top. We literally we called the top. We said their non-greens 3-point shooting is way too high. Streets and Steez are shooting crazy numbers from 3. If Greens does not increase his 3-point percentage, they're going to crash, and this team is going to start losing. There's podcast evidence. We were both very concerned about that, and the exact thing has happened. I don't know what's happened to Green's 3-point shooting this year. It's just kind of fallen off of a cliff. Sometimes it just happens.
I mean, you could say sometimes it happens. I'll never understand it because, like, you've played the game long enough. You're a good shooter one year. Like, if you're a good shooter one year and you go to play the game the next year, there should not be that much of a drop off. The
difference for me also is that not only is his 3-point shooting bad, the 3-point shooting has gotten to the point where it's affecting how he plays offense on the other end too. So here's an example, right? Greens and Vandy are actually shooting pretty close to the same number from three. Greens is 87 of 189. Vandy is 91 of 186. But the biggest difference is that Vandy is shooting better from 2-point range, like a lot better. He's 269 of 413 to 235 of 377. And that slight increase in shooting is a 1.5 per game for Vandy and a 1.5 a game for Grizz Gaming that Nets GC does not have right now. Greens needs to go nuclear. He has to. Like they need him to. This is it. It's now or never. It's either Greens goes nuclear now or this team starts to fall apart.
Yeah. If this whatever series they play will tell a lot because Shifty's been hot, Fance has been picking it up. So you have two guards who are going to come out there being electric and shooting the ball probably at a high clip. So it's going to apply even more pressure. So yeah, I'm kind of on the same route with you. If you can't pick it up here and make some noise and make a decent run, like what kind of faith do we give you in the playoffs? Is there a way they don't get to the playoffs, or are they kind of like
who the Nets?
Yeah,
the Nets are. Let me pull this up. The Nets have 100 points, so it would take a lot to happen for them to slide out of the playoffs. Now, that's not to say that they won't slide into the 8, 9, 10 seed. Right now, they're 6 behind Lakers Gaming, Magic Gaming, Gen G, Heat Check, and Pistons GT. But the Grizz and the Hawks are right behind them. Celtics, Pacers, Knicks are close behind too. So, and hey, the Jazz are making a crazy run here. So we'll see what kind of chaos they want to cause. But the Nets collapse is a real shock, and I hope that they can get things back on track because, I don't want this to trend over into fives, and all of a sudden, their mentality for fives is swapped. We don't need any of that. Bucks Gaming, you want to talk about a collapse? One of the worst teams in 3v3 this year. They've never been able to find the right lineup. Johnny's shooting the ball super weird this year. One of the best usual clutch shooters in the league has lost it. Very strange. And also, dare I say that Dawsix has not been as good as he has been in this game mode in the past. Just a general all-around kind of meh 3v3 season for Bucks Gaming. It's been very meh.
Yeah, I didn't like which way to put it because I thought initially when they came out with that the Johnny, Dawsix, and Dimes lineup, I was like, okay, they came to play. I liked seeing Johnny at guard. I do think obviously having to change some things up can be a little funky with you, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe they weren't anticipating Dimes being back as soon as coming into this tournament, or if that was something. Hey guys, I'm gonna come in, let's get the ball rolling back with this. But even then, I still think Johnny should have been the guard this entire time. I don't think they should have taken Johnny off of the point guard position this entire time. And I think that's one of their demises.
It's not a bad
is
take.
taking him off there.
Definitely not a bad
I think
take.
Johnny should have been a guard, and I think they obviously Johnny and Dawsix are the two that should remain in the lineup at all times for this team. Now the question is okay, the Dimes are retro thing. Obviously, Dimes should be started, but with Dimes having to leave because of the birth of his kid, retro would be in there. Depending on how long Dimes would be out, that's where I would say, okay, we're just going to use retro the entire time.
Yep.
Right? Because what's the point of, okay, we haven't played with you in 3 weeks now. Obviously, the game adjusts pretty quick with the new play styles everyone has to go with. So why not get repetitions in all 3 of those weeks with that? So I'll be really interested. I'm happy that they were at least able to bounce back against Gold Navy, which did they brought out the Johnny, Dawsix, and retro lineup, right?
Yeah, they did.
I think that's the lineup you roll with. I hate that teams kind of is seeming like they're using the upper bracket as we have a safety net. Let's try something new. If we win, great. If we lose, oh, cool. Now we can go back to our lineup that we were gonna potentially run down here in the lower bracket. I hate that mindset, but I don't think teams are intentionally doing it, but it certainly seems like it to us.
Last but certainly not least, Kings Guard Gaming on the upswing, Dirk. Does this team have the greatest run in Switch Open history in them? Can they make a run to the championship, win, and make the playoffs?
Let's see who they play. The loser at 25, which is the Heat.
They have 20 points.
Hell no.
They have 20 points.
They lose this round no matter who they play.
I think they win.
You think they beat either the Pistons or the Heat?
Yeah.
No. I don't think they stand a chance, to be honest with you. I think either of those teams that drop down, I think they'll lose.
I can't call you crazy for that opinion. All right, we're an hour and 10 minutes into this podcast. Let's close it out. Any changes to your Switch Open prediction? Lakers, Magic, you had part 2. I had Lakers, Heat. Any swaps?
Nope. Still Lakers, Kai MVP.
Yeah. Same here for me. Lakers Heat with Shifty Kai MVP. I have to specify. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Virtual Courtside. Dirk and I will be back this weekend, and then we have a bye week, Dirk. So we got to figure out something fun to do for our bye week. And then I want everybody to know. Also, we've been asked a couple questions about how often the pod is coming out. This is kind of our threes pod schedule because it's threes. When fives comes out, we'll probably go back to doing like a serious 2 pods a week. Bring on some guests, be more super serial about it because fives just has so much more to talk about on a game-to-game basis.
It's tough constantly having to talk about a mode that really doesn't have a lot of in-depth strategy and also has however many games being played.
So many games.
With fives, it's just, hey, these guys are playing tonight, and then that is it. So
many games. All right, y'all. We're gonna close it out. We will see you guys this weekend. Adios.